Oh, you guys are here. Good. Hi. Well, it's good that you're here. Good timing actually, because you see this? Upload 92%, almost there. It's almost finished. I'm actually uploading the files for the reworked, updated, upgraded Neuroscience for Parents course. As you might know, Neuroscience for Parents is one of my best-selling courses. It's crazy. It has now, I believe, almost 40,000 students, only that course. So I've been playing around already for quite some time to upgrade the course, to make it better and to put it more up to date with the latest stuff about brain science, etc., that I research continually. So at that point, what's happening here is that I've decided to work on that like a year and a half ago, but I got sidetracked. I worked on different projects, and some 6 months ago I picked it all up again, worked all through the winter. Now we're spring, here it is, it's ready, it's uploading on the website, we're almost there, and yeah, hallelujah, way party. So the upgrade is there. It's going to be accessible on my own platform, on different other platforms such as Udemy, for example. I will put some links in the description below for those who are interested. However, if you already have the course, it's free of charge. It's just from me to you. It's over an hour and a half of new content. It's a big chunk, and yeah, I'm just giving that to you guys because it's an important topic for me, you know, parenting. I've got 2 kids myself, my little monsters, as I love to call them. So I thought, hey, let's share one of those new lectures with you guys, and that's what I will be doing right now after the jingle, the ting, 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 ting. That's where you will find it, and it's about screen time. Yes, you know, how long should I leave my kids in front of different screens, being it internet, television, being it smartphone, etc. It's actually a question I'm getting a lot. In my circle of friends as well, I see how a lot of parents struggle with that topic. It's not an easy one. What do you do? How much? Etc. etc. Well, prepare a lecture only on that topic, and here it goes. Ding, 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 ding. Let's talk now about a topic which most parents seem to struggle with, which is screen time. And I'm talking everything here, you know, smartphones, tablets, TV, video games, internet, everything. So the latest figures show us that teens spend an average 7 hours and 22 minutes a day in front of screens. And that is not including homework. 7 hours? And that's an average, you know, meaning some are consuming way more than that. If we look at kids between age 8 and 12, we're talking about an average of 4 hours and 45 minutes. Younger children average over 3 hours a day. Again, this means some kids consume way more. So what about your kids? When you look at these averages, are they below, spot on, or above? And remember, we're talking everything here, from TV to their smartphone, and whatever your estimate, reality is probably way higher. Anyway, so what does it mean, and should we be worried? I've heard countless arguments pro and contra. The most convincing one being that technology is all around us and that we should educate our children to be fluent in their use. Because otherwise they'll probably end up as social outcasts with their peers. Peer pressure, there you go. I felt it really strongly when my kids were merely babies. My wife and I decided to avoid screens for our kids as much as possible. When we discussed the topic with other parents, we felt like social outcasts, you know, some kind of extremists. It was weird, and now my oldest son will soon go to middle school, and there's a whole smartphone discussion again, and we feel the pressure again to buy our kids their own smartphone. Well, ever since we had those first discussions about screen time, I decided to dive deep into this matter and see what science says. And ever since, I've been on the lookout for new studies and developments. So, the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends limiting the screen time for kids to less than 1 or 2 hours per day, depending on age, of course, and for kids under the age of 2, none at all. Some pediatricians and neuroscientists even advise to ban screens completely before the age of 3. So why do we do this? Why take such measures? How bad can it be, right? Well, I was about to give you a whole sum of the negative impact on the brain, including gray matter atrophy, loss of white matter integrity, reduced cortical thickness, and impaired cognitive function. All these are true and scientifically proven. And scary as it sounds, what does it really mean? Well, in short, excessive screen time impairs the structure and functioning of the brain. Last year, new studies came out about how toddlers who had excessive screen time had slower cognitive development and language acquisition. The link between screen time and obesity in kids has been established a long time ago. There are also studies linking adolescence and screen time to increased anxiety and depression. I can go on like that, But let me try to explain this in another way. Digital technology does not only consume attention, it also shapes the brain. All these devices and apps are designed at grabbing our attention and not letting it go. They are cleverly designed to tap right into our reward system. We get instant little kicks of dopamine every time we reach a new level of a game, we defeat an enemy boss, we watch a funny video on YouTube, or even when we hear the little beeping sound of a new message. Dopamine is all about instant gratification. It's about here and now, and feeding our kids brain levels of dopamine that they would never get in a non-screen environment is a recipe for disaster. With an average of 7 hours of high dopamine screen time, the rest of the day looks pretty dull and boring. That part of the day where they ought to be at school and learning the skills and acquiring the fundamentals that will help them become successful individuals in their later life? Yeah, well, with the constant thrill-seeking behavior, the kid's brain is on the lookout for the next dopamine shot, which means that kids become increasingly distracted and won't be able to focus. And if you can't focus, you can't learn. The instant gratification that children get from their screens is in direct contradiction with the patience and grit one needs to be successful in life. Yes, grit. I've talked about it before. Remember the marshmallow experiment of Walter Mischel? It all comes down to those first years and how we are able to say no to temptation. The more we can resist, the stronger we will stand later in life. Unfortunately, it doesn't stop here. The time our kids spend in front of a screen, they are not spending developing other necessary skills. Small kids, toddlers, who are spending too much time in front of a screen aren't developing the fine motricity skills they would otherwise by playing with clay, scissors, coloring, drawing, etc. You might already have seen a toddler trying to change the page of a book or magazine by swiping it. Well, as funny as it seems, it's a clear warning that screen time is off balance. And there is more. What can we say about the impact of screen time on socialization, emotional intelligence, and psychological well-being? One of the greatest developments in the last decades in the field of psychology is the surge of positive psychology. Instead of looking to understand what was wrong with us, this branch of psychology looks to understand what makes us happy. Well, the answers found were disturbingly simple and all pointing into the same direction. The other. Yes, we are social beings. It's the core of who we are as a species. It's the reason why we were able to fare well and rise against all odds to dominate this planet. We find meaning, consolation, hope, and happiness when we share our time on this earth with the people we care about. It fills us, it completes us. It turns us into healthy and balanced individuals. Now, look at screen time again. What happens? Kids alone in their room playing games, even when they are together, they are alone. Due to our limited attention span, we can only focus at one thing at a time. And screen wins. Okay, one more, just in case it wasn't already bad enough. Sleep deprivation. The excitement of the dopamine rush is obviously not compatible with the quiet and calm we need to find sleep. Now, devices increasingly use these blue lighted LED screens, which also disrupt melatonin rhythms and further keep us from falling into Morpheus' arms. Now, if there is one thing that every parent knows, is that a child who lacks sleep will become cranky, irritable, moody, won't be able to focus, let alone learn. I've spoken about sleep before extensively in this course. This is basic, but crucial. Now, of course, all these things won't happen if you let your child use these devices from time to time with moderation. And when visiting friends or family, your 12-month-old baby ends up in front of the TV watching the Teletubbies, it won't get brain damage either. It's about patterns, repetition, daily reinforcement of stimulus, which end up altering the brain. And of course, a Skype conversation with your aunt is not the same as a game of Fortnite, where you basically have to kill everybody else to win the game. So I guess it all comes down to what foundation we want to give our children. Allowing excessive screen time won't turn them blind or crazy. As always, it's much more subtle than that and has consequences for the long run. It's about patterns and repetition. It's about daily habits. And the rule here is very simple. The lesser, the better. Now, I'm not saying to totally shut down screen time. It's fun, it's entertaining. And used with moderation, it's a source of lots of fun and excitement. But when consumed in excess, screen time is counterproductive to laying the foundations that will turn our children into the bright young men and women we hope they one day will become. My kids, well, they didn't get any screen time before the age of 4. From 4 to 8, they could only watch half an hour, and this only during the weekend. From 8 onward, this was upgraded to 1 hour in the weekend, meaning 1 hour on Friday after school, 1 hour on Saturday and 1 hour on Sundays. Once they'll reach 12, well, we'll reevaluate and plan on giving some more screen time. And of course, there are exceptions. For example, when we go to the cinema and watch a film together, right? At first, most of our friends were shocked. Nowadays, most of them complain about how their kids, we're talking 10-year-olds here, are already addicted to their screens. Remember the dopamine? And they want to know our secret. How do we do it? Well, that's actually easy. We never let it go out of hand in the first place. It's easy to keep control that way, you know. It's like a discussion I had with my son. I told him I was doing this experiment and stopped drinking alcohol for 100 days. He looked at me and said, well, why not a year? And I said, 1 year is a long time. It's hard. And he said, well, I haven't drunk alcohol for 11 years. It's not that hard. He cracks me up sometimes. But actually, that's the whole point, you see. It's so much easier to quit when you haven't started. The same is true with screen time. Keep it under control from the start, and it will be way easier down the road. Because of the high dopamine levels, some people have compared screen time with alcohol. Of course, that's not technically correct, as alcohol has other negative effects on the brain, as we've discussed before. But I do agree on the fact that screen time is a digital drug, and we as adults have the responsibility to help our children consume it in a responsible way. As always, like and subscribe, and if you want the real stuff, go to brainacademy.com and join our 200,000, we're over 250,000 students now. Join over 250,000 students and start making your brain better. Brain out.
Sharpen your mind.